Hello guys, I'm Krish here, and today we will be discussing or we will be having a webinar on Power Query and Power BI application on the demand forecasting and procurement data. So hope I'm audible to you guys and you're able to see my screen. So I'll be sharing my data in few minutes, and from there we will be going into the session. So there are some people are joining here, I think, on the Teams, and same thing is live. We are telecasting live on the Facebook channels also. You can, if you're not joining our Teams, you can also access our Facebook or even other social media channels. From there, you will be able to access the live on this program. So before we move forward, I would like to discuss that. So I hope you might have some experience on Power Query. If you do not have the experience on Power Query, so there is no problem. We'll be going step by step and explaining you the details. So meanwhile, I'm just downloading my data from the local system. Then we'll go step by step into the process. Give me some time because I'm just downloading the data now. When we do the live telecast or live broadcast, system speed comes down. So the system speed comes down at that time. We have to be a little slow, but I think once we have the data, then I think we will be able to move forward in a good speed. So please bear with me for think some problem is there in the system, getting not getting downloaded. Seems like we got a success now in downloading the data. Seems like we got a success now in downloading the data. It doesn't happen like this every time. This is something like maybe happening now. Maybe there is some bug in the system, or maybe there is space issues might be there. But this doesn't happen every time. Generally, if you want to get the data from the system, it takes hardly less than 30 seconds or 20 seconds to get the data. Probably this is the first file. I think I was not using this laptop for a long time. Just for this webinar, I am using this laptop. So probably that is the reason why it is taking so much time. Finally, we have a data now. So we'll be working on this data using Power Query. So the most important thing in supply chain is the most of the is we need to have a good data which we can use to create plans or to do the predictions for the future. But actually, and also when we want to create those kind of data, those kind of reports and plans and predictions, predictive modeling data, what we want is that we don't want to create them every time. So when I say if I don't want to create every time, what is the meaning of that? The meaning of is that you don't want to spend time on transformation, extraction, transformation, and loading process, right? So if you're spending the time on extraction, transformation, and loading, then I think you are actually you're wasting a lot of time. So what is the definition of extraction, transformation, loading? See, extraction means that you're trying to you're pulling the data from from a ERP using maybe you're writing some SQL queries, right? So you want to pull the data from the SQL from the ERP using writing SQL queries, and the data will be pulled out of the system, and then that data can be connected with the Power Query, or if you want to if you not want to connect the data with the Power Query, right? So you can actually also put into your system, internal system, and from there you can pull it inside the here. So let me see here. Let me draw a process here. Suppose you have a this is your ERP, Let me insert a process diagram. That's the better. Okay, so what I'm doing is you have a data within the ERP. From ERP, you actually extract the data. Then you do, suppose if the data which you have extracted from the ERP is not actually what you, in the shape you want, you have to do n number of transformations on that, right? For example, if your data is in a text format, you want to convert the data from text format into a number format. If your data is in the in the number format, you want to convert data from number format to the currency format. If you have data where we have multiple columns, multiple phrases mixed, you want to split the columns. So then you can split those columns from one column to three or four columns, right? So if you want to make a relationship, suppose you have two or three Excel sheets and you want to use VLOOKUP function or HLOOKUP function, or you want to use a XLOOKUP function, and from those operations you want to merge two or three files, right? You want to transfer data from one file to another file, and from one file to another second file to third file. So that is called transfer of data, and by connecting with the unique codes. So that is, those kind of stuff, it takes some time. And if you want to do the same step every day, then it takes more time, right? First of all, when you do for the first time, it takes some time. And if you repeat that particular process every day, right, to create a template, then it takes even more time. So what we want to do is that we want to show you the process where you can eliminate this, the first time creation of template and repeating the process of creating a template every day or every 2 day or 3 day. And that is called, the transformation process, which we want to eliminate. Right, the transformation process. And the last one is called, once your operations are over, so what we do, we actually make the data load into the load for the analysis. Load for analysis. So what you're doing is you're writing a SQL query within the for ERP. You're pulling the data, means you're extracting the data from the system from the ERP, and then you're doing transformation. So transformation process is a process which is called when you're making your data analyzable. So you're making your data analyzable by using the transformation process, right? So if because the data which you pull from the ERP, right, that may not be ready for the analysis or for the analytics. So what we need to do is that you need to pull the data from the system and extract data from the system, and then you have to do the transformation of that. When you do transformation on the data, right, then your data is becoming analyzable. Otherwise, there are a lot of problems will be there. In terms of the accuracy, in terms of the summarization, right? You want to make a decision, and if you want to make a decision, you want a clear cut template or clear cut data. And if you're not having a clear cut data to make a decision, then if the ambiguity will remain for a long time. And that ambiguity, if it is there in the data, then that is not going to be helpful for you to make decisions. So the transformation process is something what you have to do a lot of things in the data, on the data, over the data, inside the data, and then from that you have to make your data create a data in the form of analyzable, in the analyzable form. And then once you have the analyzable form, then you will load the data inside your database, right? Inside database, or you can save the data inside your folders in the system. So this process, which is called ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading, ETL process. We call this as a ETL process, and this is a very, very important process. If somebody, if a person is a data analyst, the person is a data analyst or working in data regularly, if you want, they want to reduce the time on working on the data, right? Because we are the operations people. Supply chain is, basically run on the through the operation, not through, of course we have to use the data to run the operations, right? But we should not spend too much time on the data. If you're spending too much time on the data, then you're not working on the operations, or your time on operations is very less. So if you want to improve your time on operations, you have to reduce your time on the data analysis. Okay, so with less time spent on data analysis and getting higher productivity out of data analysis, right, we have to spend less time and get the higher productivity. So if you want to spend less time and get the higher productivity from the data, then you will be able to spend much smarter time on the operations. So if you have a good data, means a smart data, you then your operations also will become very smart. So you're spending so you have to create your structure of the data analysis in such a way that you have to reduce your time on working, you have to reduce your time working on the data and spend, and also you have to get a very good analysis out of the data so that you work very smart on the operations. That is what the main benefit or main takeaway you will get from this ETL process. Okay, so I hope you understand. If you have any questions, you can post the questions on the on the chat box, or on the if you are accessing this from the social media pages, then just post your queries over there. Then I'll be able to answer your questions on that. Now let's see what is this ETL process is all about, right? So I understood, I gave the concept. What is the main purpose of this ETL process? The main purpose of ETL process is that you have to spend less time on data transformations, and you have to make your data very analyzable, so that your time on data analysis reduces, which will ultimately take your time more on the operations side, so that you earn more revenue and save more money for the more money for the company, and ultimately you will have more profit margins, right? So that is what the mean of. Otherwise, if your team is spending too much time on the data analysis, making decisions out of the data, then how much time they will spend on the operations, right? What you want is your team to spend more on. Of course, data analysis is a very important thing, but you have to make your data analysis operations very simpler, very quick, very smart, and automated. So that you achieve, that you are able to achieve, then your operations will become automatically become smart. That is the main purpose of using this process. So if you use this process for your after completing this webinar, if you are able to use this entire thing for your operations, then I think you will get a lot of benefit for your company, right? So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start the process. The first thing what you need to do is that you have to go to data. See, there is data over here, which is in Excel. Sorry, again it has gone slowed down. Probably have to move this dark screen from here. So some problems we are facing, which are which are occurring for the first time. This problem we don't face regularly. Let me open a new file. Let me see if we are able to. Okay, so I'm clicking on data here. So after clicking on data, then what we have to do is that we have to go to this option called get data. Within get data, you can see multiple options coming over here. The first option is called from file, from database, right? You can get the data from the SQL Server database, from the Microsoft Access database. Right? There are many databases are there. If you have a data, SAP HANA, Teradata. So if you wanted to get the data from those servers, you can get from there. from Azure, from online services. Suppose if you have data on in the Facebook, or if you have data in the the SharePoint, right? So from you can get the data from there also, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get data from the file. So there are various options are there. So if you want to get the data from your online sources, like if you want to get data from the link, suppose you have a data in the link, hyperlink, HTML link, even you can get that data from the link also. Okay. So now in this for this case we have a data in our local system. So I'm going to go to my from file, then go to Excel workbook. So it is going to, once I click this Excel workbook, it is going to take me to the my local system folders. And I have to, once it goes local system folders, I have to pick the data which I have to use for this project. Okay, so I'm going to take one of the data from here. It's called job header, job card summary. So let me import this data inside the Excel. So what I did, I went to data. From data, I went to get data. In get data, there are various options are there. Within that options, I went to the from file, and then I choose the workbook. And as soon as I choose a workbook, it has taken into the local system folder. And from there, I am trying to import the data inside the Excel. Now see, what I have to install? I have to import this one. So I'm clicking on this particular sheet in that particular file. So here I have a data, which is a job card summary data. Right? This is job card summary data. Now what I am doing, I have two options over here. First option is that, see, this is the extraction process, right? We have done the extraction process, we have data in the system. Now, second part we have discussed already, that is transformation process. And the third part is the loading process. So if you want to see where can we do the transformation and from where we can do the loading. So here, if you look at here on this data at the bottom, you can see there's a transform data option. Okay, there's a transform data option and there is a load option. So if you think that this data does not require any kind of transformation, you can go and load the data inside the Power Query. But if you think that this data needs some transformation, and those transformations has to be automated, so that for the next time when you use this data, same data, you don't need to do the similar transformation on the data, right? So there are two options. If you want to load the data, then click over here. If you want to transform the data, then click over here, right? So we have to do the transformation over here because we think that this data is still not analyzable. If data is not still analyzable, then what we have to do? We have to do the transformation on the data. So I'm going to click on this transform data because the data is not analyzable. So what I am going to do, I have to make data in a proper analyzable form. For that, I need to do the transformation. So this, when I click on transformation, I'm going into the Power Query. This is the Power Query window. I hope you're able to see the Power Query window. Right. So we are able to move into the Power Query window, and here what we're going to do is the transformation, so that we can create a data which is analyzable for planning and prediction, or for strategy planning, prediction, and for strategy development. Right. So now we are moving into our Power Query. So here, if you look at here, there are various kind of options are there. Right. So first, let's see, choose columns, remove columns, keep rows, remove rows, split column, right? Group by columns, use first row as headers, replace values, merge queries, append queries, right? We have to bring a new source, recent sources, and then I go to transform part. So here we can also do unpivot columns, pivot columns, replace values, extract, format, split columns. There's so many things, so many tools are available here. If I want to add a column, I can add a column. I can add a column from the examples, or if I have to create a new column, I have to go to custom column. If I have to invoke a column with a custom function, I can do that also over here, right? I can create a conditional columns. Suppose in Excel we use if formulas. So in this case, we don't need to use, we can directly go to conditional column and create those conditional columns, right? So many features are available here, and all these features we can use to create a data which is analyzable, right? So this is what we're going to use over here. And what happens is, whatever steps we take to transform the data, those steps will be saved in this area called applied steps. You can see applied steps in the right hand side in my cursor. If my cursor is moving over here, so this is the area where all your steps which you are going to take to transform the data will be saved here. So this is the area. If you want to delete some of the steps, you can also delete from the same area. If something is added, it will get added here. Something has to be deleted, it will be deleted from here only, right? So you have to work on this Power Query window screen, and whatever steps you will take, it will be added in the applied step. Whatever steps you want to delete, you can delete from the applied steps, right? For example, if you want, suppose you think that this data is something you want to change in the data, and you want to get a new data inside this, it's the Power Query. So what you do, you have to go to source here, and there is a, if you look at here, there is a settings icon over here. So if you click on settings icon, you will be getting a new pop-up window. In that window, you will be able to see a path, the path of the file, right? This is the path of the file where from we got this file inside the Power Query. So you want to bring in new data. So what you do, you click on browse. Click on browse and get a new data and change it. Right? So as of now, we don't want a new data over here. So we'll keep as it is whatever we have. Okay. So this is what the data which we have right now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this data area, and I expand this. Okay. And I want all of them over here. So I click OK. Oh, sorry, I have to remove this. Cancel. I have to remove. Let me go do once again. Click on this data, expand this. Okay. And I remove this use original column name as prefix. I'm removing them. I'll just click on insert now. So once I click this, I'll be able to get the full data over here. This step may not be required in real time. The reason, because we have, I was trying to show an example over here how to change the source file. That's the reason why it has come like that. See, this is a file name. I don't want the file name here, so I will delete this file name from here. So I'll just click this column, right click and remove from here. So if I click on this area, this column will be removed, and this step is saved over here. Look at here, remove columns. The step is saved. Right. So whatever we do, it will be saved over here. Now, if you look at here, our header or the labels are in the row number 3. They are not in the top. They are, suppose, country. What is the country name? What is the location? What is the job number? What is the description of the product? What is the status of the job? Right. So all this is in the third row. But I want this on the first row. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go to home. There are two ways to execute this. One way is that we'll go and click on the first row as headers. There's two ways to execute this. The first way I'm going to showing. I will show another way also. So if you look at here, it was in the third row, now it came to second row. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this again. Use first row as the headers. Now right now, second row, we will see it will move to the first row. Right, but still I want this as a label. Right now, still it's not label. So I'll go and click over here once again, and you will see this will move to the label area. And guys, and this step you do not you don't need to do for the second time when you get the data from the ERP. So these are data which you got from the ERP, and we don't in the second time you don't need to do all those things because all your steps getting saved over here, right? So what you have to do is that you have to go to the folder. You have to go to the folder, just delete the previous file. Suppose we have the same file, delete the previous file, and upload the new file in the folder, and give the same name. Give the same name even with a like if you have underscore, if you have a dot, if you have a caps, right? Everything has to be same. So give the same file name. So suppose if you on after 2 days you want to change the file, after 3 days you want to change the file. This is something what happens because we will have a number of transactions happening in supply chain, and we want to capture those transactions after 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, or 10 days into the file. So what you do? Go back to the folder. Go back to the folder where you did the access data. Remove the file. Remove the previous file and upload the new file. Copy paste a new file and give the same file name. And after you see the same file name, just come over here. Just now it's not we will have to upload this. Then we have to I'll show you have to click refresh button. After you click the refresh button, your entire transformation will happen on the new data which you have uploaded, not on the old data, right? So this is a one time effort which you can do within the Power Query, and you can refresh the before refreshing you have to upload a new data into your folder, give the same file name, right? Then the two things have to be same. The folder has to be same, like the previous file, and the name has to be same, right? Of course, if we are uploading a new data, but the same file name, the same folder, and then you come to the Power Query in the table, and then you just click refresh. Everything will be you'll get a new. Everything will be refreshed. Means you are getting a new data now. Okay. So now if you see, now we have the right headers or right labels for data. Now, if you look at here, in this case, there are some nulls over here, right? These nulls, we don't, if we have this kind of nulls, we cannot do any, these nulls are not helpful for the analysis. These nulls are not helpful for the analysis. So I go to country, right? I'm going to choose all the nulls from here. I'm going to remove the nulls from here and click OK. So what will happen? This will remove wherever we have nulls, it will be removed, and this data, and after removing the nulls, we will get a data which is without the null, right? So once we remove the null, we have made this data a little bit more analyzable, right? So two things we have done to make data analyzable. First is that we gave the labels. Second thing is we remove the nulls from here. Okay. Now let's go to third column. If anything else is there which we have to remove, I think I don't see anything over here to remove from here. So here, this is location, this is country. Okay, this is location and this is country here. So suppose what I want to do is that I don't want to have the last two part of this data, like KRT, PVT, VEH. I don't want PVT and EH from here. I want KRT to be separated from here, right? KRT is a location name, location short name. That is one of the things we will do. So let's check some more things which we have to transform. So here I will not have PVT VEH. I will just have KRT here. Okay. So job number, I don't want to. I want to keep job number here. This is internal or external, right? So I stands for internal, E stands for external. So perfect, fine. We don't want to do anything over here. Everything is fine. Now we'll go to description. So what is the job description here, right? So there is a job description over here. So wherever we have a blank, right, we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect the blank from here, and I'm going to remove. Now we have made one more steps in making the data analyzable, right? We have removed from the description whatever is a blank. Okay. Now job status. What is your current job status, right? Suppose you want to do analysis for work in progress, only for work in progress. You can select only the work in progress. If you want to do analysis for both of them, you can. There's no change. You don't need to make any changes over here. But if you want to make changes, like you want to analyze for the closed one, or you want to make the analysis work in progress, you can select one of them and click OK. So as of now, we don't want to do any changes over here, so I'll keep as it is. Now we have an asset ID. It's a very important, very important column for us because we're going to make our data transferable from one sheet to another, or link one particular function with another function based upon this asset ID. So we have a driver name here. So suppose wherever driver name is not available, means you can you can actually remove that. But let's say I'm removing the wherever driver name is not there. I'm going to remove as of now because that is not going to help me for some of the analysis. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to make So now we have removed. We have made one more transformation. So we got a new driver name. We got a data with only driver names. We are not taking anything which is without driver names. Okay. So this is one of the things we have achieved now here. Now we'll go to asset ID 2. So we don't want asset ID 2 because we have an asset ID. That's enough for us. So I'm going to remove this column from here. So this column is removed and I don't want this column anywhere, right? And now we have an asset type, which is truck or this is generator. If you see these are the full list. If you want to have see the full list, then click load more. Once you click load more, it will show the total list of what kind of asset types we have. Now, suppose if you want to choose some asset types, specific asset types for which you want to do analysis, right? Suppose I want to plus click on select all. I want to choose something which I want to do analysis for. I want to do analysis for light vehicle, truck, and tanker, right? So I want to do analysis for light vehicle, tanker, and truck. I don't want to do analysis for car, generator, and all those things. So if you have the requirement for, suppose based upon your requirement, you can shortlist your components from here. So that is one of the things which you can do over in this. And once again, I tell you that this is not we are doing this is a one-time transformation. So from next time onwards, you don't need to do all these transformations. So whatever I'm doing here, whatever selections I'm doing, whatever transformation I'm doing, this is for lifelong. So every time you get a new data from the ERP, just upload the data into the folder, change the name, means make the name similar to what we have in this particular thing, and then you have to just click on go and refresh. Everything will get everything will get for the new data in the same transform way. For here, suppose if I have a make code here, so Mercedes and Toyota. So I want to do analysis for all the brands. I want to do analysis for the Mercedes. What I'll do, I'll just click on here Toyota, remove the Toyota. If I suppose, let's see if you have some more brands other than these two. So I'm clicking on load more. If something else is there, Toyota as well as Mercedes, I don't want to do analysis for Toyota. I want to do analysis for the Mercedes. So let me see if we are able to get them here or not. Okay, so here we have seen so many brands over here. So I'm going to click unselect all, select all, then I choose only Mercedes from here. Okay, so here we have seen so many brands over here. So I'm going to click unselect all. So now what we are seeing over here is that the make code is getting filtered, and we are doing analysis only for the Mercedes here. So what we are doing, guys, if you look at what I'm doing, I'm making a big data into a small data, right? So we have very big data, and from that big data, I'm making a small data. And the reason why I'm making small data, because I don't want to do analysis on everything. My analysis focused on some specific attributes. I need to select everything from the data and do analysis for all of them. So I am doing analysis for a specific element, a specific attribute from a specific columns. So that is how you can actually reduce your data size. That is how you can increase the velocity of your data analysis. Right? So you have to do some narrow down. You have to narrow down on your analysis on the data. If you are doing a narrow down on the data, then you can increase your data size, you can reduce the data size, increase the velocity of data analysis. right? And also, you don't need to build huge data inside your servers. Unnecessary, if you are having a huge data into your servers, it means that because you have a limited data size, you have a limited data space in your servers, right? You should not load your data, with huge files. You have to load the data with only the files which are file size or file call, info data file space, which is which is required for the analysis. See how beautifully we are doing this. How this tool is helping us to make a big data into a relevant data. We're not making a data small data. We're making a big data into a relevant data, right? So within this, suppose the models. So there are so many models are there. We'll go over all the models here. Now, if you look at your job date, this is a very important column, guys, because for if you are doing analysis in supply chain, time is a very important factor. So time is a very important factor which we use for the planning, scheduling, right, and prediction, right? So how to see? If you look at this data, there are two kind of forms are there. One is at 11th February 2022. Second is 12 2021. But both are expressed in a way. One is on the left hand side, other is the right hand side. So suppose if I go and I click on change type, right? So one thing I also want to show here. So if the another important thing in supply chain data is the format of the data. If you look at the format of data here is this is in text as well as number format, right? This is in text as well as number format. So I think one of the date it is treating as text and one of the date is treating as number, right? But we don't want neither text nor the number. We want the format as date. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click over here, click on change type, see the change type, and I'm going to go and click on date. The moment I do click on date, it is going to transform the data into date format, but there will be some problem, I think. Let's see what is the problem. See, wherever, so if I showed initially that there are two kind of formats in this particular column. But one thing first is that we have achieved our date format. See, look at the calendar symbol. The calendar symbol signifies that we have made our date as date format. Previously, it was in text and number format. So wherever the number was there, it transformed the number into date. But wherever the number was in the text form, wherever the number was in the text form, it couldn't able to transform into date. It's showing error. So what we have to do is that I have to go and delete that step because this is not giving me the right output. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and click on the change type. Right. So now if you see, we got back our initial. We got the job date as it was in the beginning because now we see this number is being treated as text. This number is being treated as number. So let me do one more way. Let's see if we are able to achieve that or not. I'm going to convert this change type into number. So everything I want to have in the form of number. Let's see if that works. Again, it is not working here, right? If you see, this date is converting into a number, but this text is going into error. So I'll go back again and delete the steps. So I got back what I wanted is right. I will use technique here. The technique is that I'm going to split the data into three different ways. Means I'm going to split this number 11 to 2022 into three different columns. Then I'll combine them together. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to right click over here. Then let me see if we have a split columns here. Copy, remove, duplicate, add column, remove errors. We are not able to see the split column function over here. So I'm going to go here in the top this is split column. I'm going to split this column by using a delimiter, and the delimiter is the separator between two data points. So I'm going to use a delimiter, this slash, okay, and then I'm going to split this into, let me click on this advanced options. So there are 3 columns. Suppose if you want to click in 4 columns, you can make it 4. If you want to split into 2 columns, you can split in 2, right? So I'm clicking here 3 columns and then click OK. What will happen here is that this job date is going to split into 3 different columns, right? 11 to now. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to combine these three into one. After splitting, I'm combining now. So what I'm going to do, right click, give a select option called merge columns. I'm going to use separator here as custom. Let me go to custom and give a separator name, hyphen, give a name, job date, click OK. So what we're going to see is that these 3 columns will be combined together in this form. And if you see, this is showing us a text format, right? It's not a date format. So again, I'll go here, right click, change type, and click on the date. Let me see if it works now or not. Still, it is not working, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this step. Now, I'm going to add a column, custom column. And give a name here. Job date 1. I'm going to use a formula called date dot format date dot from text. Date dot from text, and the column is which you want to use is this is the column job date. Click insert. Okay, I'm going to give the format is equal to BD mm. And here I'm going to write a culture. Writing a code here, guys. DE is equal to DE, close the bracket. Let's see, there is some problem in the formula. So let's see what is the problem. we have a job date here. Let's see whether this formula is working or not. No, this formula is not working here. Just click over here. I'll remove this double inverted commas from here. Let's see if it works or not. Okay, still we're getting error. So I'm going to make changes in the formula once again. Let us see some more examples, some more efforts. Okay, some transformation we got over here, and some of the still we're getting the same problem that is showing us error. We got one success, but so we are getting job date from here. Let me show you the formula once again. Job date. Let me remove this. This is yeah. The formula is resolved now. Let's try this. Let's see whether this works or not. So still we're getting an error here. We have a job date, and here we have 512014 12 2 22 32. So here we are trying to convert this formula into a date format. So let's remove this. What is the culture here? France. So we are saying take table dot add columns, merge columns, job date one, job date one. So we are using job date one. So do we have any job date one? The job date one is the okay. This is around each dot from text job date, comma format days culture equal to. Let's do one thing. Let's delete this. So we have this date, and this date. Let's join again then. March columns. Separator tab custom. This one. Change type and click on date. Getting the same issues again. So I'll remove the step from here. Go to add columns, custom columns. Date. Date. So guys, what we'll do here is that we will this formula is not working here, so we have to see why this not working. So meanwhile, what I'll do is that I'll convert this into date format from here itself, and whatever is not working, we will see. I'll see it later. Yes, so I'm going to remove all the errors from here. So now we're replacing the errors with a date. Same thing we'll do over here also. Just click on right click, change type, date, and then we'll replace the errors. So this is job and time. This should be in time. So we'll put change type into time. This is our days of recycle. So we have to change this into number. Let me remove this last step. I'll go right click again, change type to floating number, decimal number. Right, now we have decimal number. Here we need to keep in a, this is a odometer. So we need to have this into a whole number. This is again, we need to have an whole number. Right, now we have to change the parts cost to decimal number. That's why we're changing here. Now the cost total also has to be changed into currency. Right, so the hours has to be changed into time. This is not the right format, so we'll go change type to decimal number. This is right, the comments are right, and I'm going to delete this step. I'm going to delete this column also. I'm going to delete this column also. I'm going to delete this column also. We don't want this column. If you don't want this department also, we'll remove. This is all same. If we want, we can remove the we have asset type. How many asset types we have? Only truck, single asset type, or we have some more asset types. I think we have selected truck, light vehicles. Okay, so this is data which we have transformed, and all the steps which we have done, it is available over here. And from here, we'll go to home and then click close and load to. So this is the loading. So we have done the extraction. Now we have done the transformation, and finally we are doing the loading step over here. This completes our ETL transaction for one of the data. So if you look at here, it's asking me to select, like this is a table format and I want this as a data model. Data model means if you are having multiple data and then you want to combine those multiple data using the Power Pivot. We'll also see Power Pivot in the next session. So if you want to combine multiple sheets into Power Pivot using into a pivot table, so that can be done only using Power Pivot. So if you add the data into as a data model, then that all the multiple sheets which you are taking, and if you are giving them as a name or nomination as a data model, then you will be able to combine them. Suppose I have 10 sheets or 15 sheets. I want to combine all the 10, 15 sheets into one pivot table. Then for that you need to convert the data into data model. So guys, this is what we have, the data model, and this is the transform data. This is transform data, right? So now this is what we're going to use for analysis. This is the data which we are going to use for analysis. So we have removed most of the things which are not required. We have done some transform. Of course, we have to do some more improvement on the date. But I will, give us an update on the social media pages, how to actually write, what is it, because I'm using a code and that code is not working. So probably I don't have a time to do the research at this moment and improve the code. So what I will do is that I will do it offline and I will share the code to you on the social media pages which you can access, right? So guys, I think this is what I wanted to show for one of the sheets. There are some more sheets which I have to upload. We have to do the ETL and bring into the database. Like if you look at it, we will have a database over here, like job card is there. So we'll bring multiple data sheets over here, multiple the data models over here. And after getting the multiple data models, we'll combine them into one pivot table, and which that pivot table which will give us the total analysis or total insights, right? So that I will schedule in the next session. So I think there's a lot of time we have I have wasted because of the slow system and some formula errors. So that's, I'm sorry for that. I'm not able to show you the total analysis, total thing in this particular webinar. So I'll be arranging one more webinar very soon, and in that you will be able to see some more sheets getting added as data model after transformation, and then we'll combine those 2 or 3 sheets together to derive one pivot table from 3 or 4 sheets, and using Power Pivot, and then we will generate the insights out of that. So that is what I'm going to show you in the next webinar. So thank you guys very much for watching this video and giving us the motivation by sharing your queries, interest, and then we will be coming with one more webinar. So please do follow our social media pages. We'll be giving our update on the over there, so you can join the next webinar from there. Okay, thank you very much, guys.